Have you ever wanted a card to work so well, but you feel like it's just missing that one little piece, and then a new set gets released, and you're like, that's it. That's the card. Well, today, I'm going to be talking about Dialga V-Star. Let's get into this deck, shall we? What's up, guys? Kenny from Team Moistar here, and today I'm going to be going over quite possibly one of the most aggressive decks moving forward into the Scarlet and Violet base set. That is going to be Dialga V-Star. Now, Dialga V-Star has two attacks, one being its normal attack, which is 40 plus 40 for each metal energy attached to this Pokemon, which is pretty neat. 9 to 8 energies typically knocks out everything in the entire format, but one of the main things we're going to be looking at getting turn 2 is that Star Chronos V-Star attack. Star Chronos for 220 damage allows you to skip your opponent's next turn, which is pretty insane to think about. We have seen some Turbo Dialga running around. There was one that actually placed either at Salt Lake or another tournament relatively recently. Um, with like Muse and Scoop Up Nets, but unfortunately, due to the rotation, Scoop Up Net is no longer available, neither is Metal Saucer, so that variant is pretty much dead. So what we did was we started to move on to Scarlet and Violet. Magnezone. Magnezone allows you to look at the top 6 cards of your deck, and for every single metal energy there, you attach it to your board in any way you like. This allows you to potentially get a turn 2 Star Chronos or turn 2 big attack with Metal Blast. Now, you'll notice something really interesting. The Magnemites actually aren't metal. This is because we do play Miraidon EX. Miraidon EX is a new EX that allows you to, once during your turn, search your deck for 2 basic lightning Pokemon from your deck and put them onto the bench, which is pretty insane to think about because before we had Level Ball, Quick Ball, and Ultra Ball to search out these things, and now we have it as a Stormy Mountain target and a Miraidon EX target. Unfortunately, we don't play Stormy Mountain because, it only grabs a couple targets in this deck, some of which more imperative than others. We do play a copy of Mesagoza, which we'll go into in just a little bit. We have one Luminian as, consistency. We play Radiant Greninja along the lines of that, too. Zamazenta is just a really good one-prize metal Pokemon that can knock out 220 HP basic Pokemon or 220 HP Pokemon in general after something gets knocked out for 3 energy, and it's very good against Lost Box because it can just kind of sit there and be like, well, I'm not getting knocked out by Cram, but if you knocked out something the last turn, I'm going to take the knockout right here. So it's pretty good. And then we have a copy of Rotom V, which not a lot of people are playing in their decks with Miraidon, which is extremely understandable. But in a deck like this, it's just a free Intrepid Sword. Instant Charge is the ability, which allows you to draw 3 cards and end your turn. That's all it's there for. It can be searched off of Miraidon, which is very, very good. So it just instantaneously gets you more cards to work with going forward into your next turn, while also benching a Magnemite through Miraidon. Then the supporter card of choice here is Adaman. This could be up to a 4 copy in this deck, but 3 has been working perfectly fine for me. Adaman discards 2 metal energy, and you can only use this effect if you do that. You search your deck for any 2 cards you want, which is legitimately just Rare Candy Magnezone by turn 2. You can search for it with Luminian. You could draw into the metal energies because you do play 23 copies of them, which is kind of absurd, but you really need to hit those numbers, and you really need to hit them consistently in numbers via Magnezone, and you really want to fly them off of Adamant so you can actually play the card and Greninja and just dig through your deck as fast as you possibly can to get to that spot with Dialga to where you can get the turn 2 Star Chronos or turn 2 Big Blowout with Metal Blast. We do have 2 copies of Boss and a copy of Thornton. Thornton is very good in this deck because it allows you to pop away a Rotom or a Luminian or a Miraidon because all 3 of them can't attack, neither can Radiant Greninja, but Radiant Greninja can be used as a draw pivot at any point in the game and turn it into a Dialga V. You could also argue playing a 4th Dialga V-Star because you do end up playing a Thornton in this deck because you can just Thornton. All you would really need is a basic in the discard pile, and you would have better odds of finding the evolution, so you could actually do the Thornton play a lot easier. So that's also something to consider. We play a copy of Serena because it's built in draw and boss. Irida is also a one of in this deck, which is pretty interesting. It allows you to search your deck for the Greninja or the Luminian while also grabbing yourself a rare candy for the Magnezone, a heavy ball in case you prize something imperative. It's just a really cool one of in a deck like this. I tried Arven, but there's no tools, so it's like Irida just kind of gets 2 effects as opposed to 1. 4 copies in S-Ball because you really want to get that turn 1 Dialga, turn 1 Miraidon, so you're able to search out your Magnemites and get out your main attacker as fast as you possibly can. Of course, you do have access to Thornton, but Thornton's not really that important coming early game. You really want to just use that as late game as you possibly can, so you could eliminate 2 prize pivots off your board as fast as you can. 3 copies of Rare Candy. 4 copies seemed okay. 3 copies just seem like the sweet spot for the deck, space-wise. You also have plenty of cards in order to find it, like Adaman, Irida. Greninja can raw draw into them. You could Rotom into them. There's a couple options that you could do in order to draw on the rare candies. Then we have 2 copies of Ultra Ball because Really, the only thing you're searching off of that is Magnezone or Dialga, and for the most part, you're going to probably add them in for the Magnezone. And if you have trouble finding the Dialga, you could potentially go up to 3 Ultra Balls if you really want to, but I haven't seen a problem with it so far. A copy of Hisuian Heavy Ball because we do play a couple one of Pokemon, one being extremely important to the strategy being Miraidon, and I bet you're asking why don't you just play 2 instead of the Heavy Ball. Miraidon is good, don't get me wrong, but if it is prized, you can also go to the back, the second route, which is just getting out the Magnemites naturally through Nest Balls, Ultra Balls, Mezagoza. Like, there are still other options, but Rhydon is just a good key card to get them out as fast as you possibly can. But having 2 in the deck just kind of seems a little silly because if you end up just not needing it in the late game, it's okay at best, and it can clog your bench. You could hit it at the wrong place at the wrong time. But maybe I'm overthinking that. Maybe Miraidon is a lot more powerful in this deck than I think. Comment in the comment section below if you would, test this. 1 copy of Energy Recycler. So in case one of the Dialgas ends up hitting the dust as fast as it does, or Adamant discards way too many metal energies, you can just throw everything back so you can end up having better odds at using Magnezone in order to get some late game blowouts. And then the Mezagoza I talked about a couple times. You flip coin of heads, search deck for any Pokemon you want. This is very good for getting out the Stage 2 Magnezone or getting out the Dialga VSTAR, just anything you really need. Also a very good Luminion pivot. And then we play 23 metals. It's just simple, easy that. It's a very consistent list. Like I said, some cards to consider. If you really wanted to, you could play a double Miraidon. You could play 4 Origin Form Dialga V-Star, so it's easier to find that. So when you do end up doing the Thornton play, it's there. 4 Rare Candy, I feel like is like too much, but you could argue that, or you could argue a Magneton. Either one works. You could even play 4 Adamant if you absolutely want to, but I feel like the list is fine the way it is as of right now. But of course, changes can happen. Nothing is perfect. I thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe and like for more content. If you would like to see more Scarlet and Violet content, please drop in the comment section below on what you would like to see. Until then, see you guys later.